the Program and Education Coordinator for Midland County Public Libraries. And today we're going to talk about gardening books, both for adults and children. So Kim, do you want to go first?
Sure. So one of our books that we have in the library is called Square Foot Gardening. It's by Mel Bartholomew. And I read it and I thought it was very interesting. It had a lot of good advice. I like that you can do everything in a very small area. So you can do raised beds. Everything's planned out for you. I like that he put his Mel's mix in there, so the right type of soil to use for your gardening, and I thought it was very interesting.
So this is one of the books that I've used before, and it's kind of my go-to book for people who want to start out in gardening or just need a little extra help in gardening. And so what's great about it is it's for anybody who has, from an apartment dweller all the way up to a homeowner. So it talks about really utilizing the space that you have, whether it be raised beds, container gardening, or you have just a large plot for a garden. It really talks about maximizing your space so that you can really get an abundance of produce for the year. So that's what I really enjoy about that book as well.
Yes. Yes, he does go into how to maximize even your seeds. So you don't have to use as many seeds. Watering you don't have to do. So I thought it was very interesting. I'm, curious to see how this will work. Maybe it'll make my black thumb turn a little green. So yeah. We'll see.
I plant square foot gardening at my house, and I think it's very helpful. So one, I think new gardeners tend to either overpack their space, or don't realize they can plant some of your radishes or carrots, things first, and as they grow, you're pulling and you're planting new, so you're still utilizing that same space even though you had something growing in it to begin with. Or using your like cucumbers to shade out areas. So not only square foot gardening, but it talks a little bit about vertical gardening in there as well.
Yes.
So really maximizing the space that you have. So
yes.
I think it's a great book.
Yeah. So for anyone around here who has small lots but would like to grow a garden, I think this would be a great book to use. It's got a lot of information on it. It even tells you like the vegetables to grow, what works with what, so your companion growers and stuff. So I found it very interesting, very helpful. So I think it'll be great. So do you want to tell us about your books?
Sure. I brought a couple children's books in today that are my favorite gardening books, and to maybe get your kids excited about gardening. So this book is Tops and Bottoms, which is a great, I use it for education, so learning tool as well. But it's about a hare, a little rabbit family that is gardening for a bear that is essentially in hibernation, but sleeps through the gardening season. And so he says, okay, well, I'll take the tops if you take the bottoms. And so the sneaky little hares, will grow whatever the bear says he wants, but will grow, the opposite. So if the bear wants just the tops, then they're growing all your root vegetables. So then the bear gets a little agitated about it all. So I like doing it because then the kids can learn, what tops and bottoms can we eat of different vegetables, and you can kind of plan that out and just, also teach your kids some exciting things about tops, bottoms, and even middles of different vegetables. So
that sounds very cute.
Yeah. The next one I have is Miss Rompilla, so not quite gardening in terms of vegetables, but more flower gardening. And this actually was one of my mother's favorite books to read me as a child, read to me, but I also enjoy this book because of the lessons that you can teach in this book as well. So Miss Rompilla, as she gets older, she's talked to her grandfather about things that she wanted to do growing up, and she needs to leave the world a prettier place. And so really it ends up being that she is planting these lupines all around. And the lesson that I use with the kids is that let's try out different soils. Do you think these lupines, or any flower, you can do it with any seed, will grow in, let's say we're in a forest and that has really moisture-rich soil.
Mhm.
Or let's say we're here in Midland in a sandy area. Is it going to grow in just sand? Is it going to grow on the rocks? Is it going to grow? So she talks about being by the ocean, being in by the land with different grasses and hills. And so I like to do that 4 different kind of experiments for kids to try out some different soil types to see if those plants will actually grow.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, soil top is important, I have learned.
Yes, very much so. It's almost easier to make your own soil.
Mhm.
That's why I really like container gardening or raised beds of any sort,
Right.
because then you really have a good start to go with, rather than trying to manipulate and amend the soil that you currently have.
Right. And that was one of the things in the square foot gardening is that you don't have to dig up anything. You just put down your planter box and dump your soil in there that he has recommended for you to use, and that's it. So that's very interesting that you would have a children's book that talks about the different soil types. So
Yeah, it doesn't quite hit soil types, but she talks about going all over, and so
Okay.
that's where I use it as, in this book she's in the she's tropical, and then she's on the mountains, and then she's here or there, and so we use those different types and make up our own soil, and then have the kids essentially make a science experiment
Right.
to see if they will grow.
very good.
Yeah. And then the last one I have is The Ugly Vegetable by Grace Lynn. And so I really enjoy this book. So I don't know about you, but if you see an ugly vegetable, are you apt to try that vegetable, Kim?
Probably not. You want it to look good. I don't know why. I guess you think it's fresher and it's better. But
Right.
it's probably not. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So in this book, they talk about a little girl's helping her mom garden. And all of their neighbors are gardening, but they're planting flowers. And her mom is planting a vegetable garden. And so it talks about they're actually planting a lot of vegetables that are, they're from China. And so it's vegetables that they grew up with. And so they're all what she would describe as ugly vegetables. So, you have some warty squashes and things like that that tend to throw people off. But she wasn't getting pretty flowers like her neighbors had, and she just really wasn't thrilled with the garden that she planted with her mom. And as it turns out, they then harvested their garden, and her mom cooked a delicious soup. And it smelled so great that all the neighbors came and exchanged their flowers for some soup.
Oh.
So, and then the next year, all the neighbors planted a little bit of flowers and some other ugly vegetables. So, just sharing with your neighbors, I think that's the fun thing about gardening is you always end up with that, an
Extras.
excess. Yeah, and so it's, well, let me share with this, and, gardening doesn't have to be just vegetables. We talked mainly about vegetables today, but it can be flowers, and there's some great flowers that you can have, cut flowers that you put in your house every day, and
Lovely.
yeah. So things that you can share with your neighbors are always, I think, that's what is great about gardening. Learning different tricks, whether it be flowers or vegetables.
Very
So-
interesting.
And so the ugly vegetable can be found on Hoopla, which is one of our digital resources.
Okay.
And Miss Rufus, which is by Barbara Cooney, and then Tops and Bottoms, which is by Jeanette Stevens. These are both actually in our libraries, so
Awesome.
you can check out these books
Yes.
in-house.
And I also know this one it's in our nonfiction section for the adults. So be sure and check out our lovely gardening books. And we have plenty more too.
There are loads of children's gardening books, adult gardening books, but if you guys have questions, we can help you out.